Hello, everyone. I'm Aurelia Nativ. I'm the president of the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition and want to welcome you all to our first virtual annual meeting for the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition. So welcome to all. And before we have the opportunity to let everyone briefly give an introduction. We have the honor of having our new ACSM CEO, Kristen Bellison, and Liz Joy, our past president of ACSM and of the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition, is going to introduce Kristen. So welcome, Kristen, and welcome everyone. Liz.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Liz.
How are you today?
I'm good. I have my hair up. I haven't been able to get a haircut in 2.5 months, so please forgive me.
We're all in the same boat.
That's what I figured.
Well, to the group on our Zoom call today, thrilled that everyone can join us, and particularly thrilled that Kristen is able to join us. As Aurelia mentioned, she is the newly minted CEO of the American College of Sports Medicine, having started just how many weeks before the pandemic hit, Kristen?
5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Yes. It's been a very interesting 3.5 months.
So, here she is our new CEO, and she comes in the middle of a pandemic, and then, of course, has to cancel our annual meeting. So it's an auspicious beginning, but let me tell everyone, she is the leader for the task. Kristen was, our unanimous choice of the search committee. I had the honor of serving on the search committee, and I will just say that she was the first candidate that we interviewed at Korn Ferry in Washington, D.C., and I knew from that moment on that she was going to be our CEO, and I was so glad that everyone else in the room felt so as well. And she comes to us with an incredibly impressive resume. Prior to joining ACSM, she was the interim chief operating officer with the American Osteopathic Association and has held other roles with the AOA as well. And she has a long and deep history working with medical professional organizations, including the Society of Gynecologic Oncology and the Foundation for Women's Cancer, the American Dental Association, working with Healthcare Financial Management Association, with the YMCA. So we couldn't have a more seasoned leader leading ACSM really into its next phase, and really incredibly thrilled to have her. Her background, her educational background includes a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication from the University of Iowa, where I might add she was an NCAA Division I student athlete in swimming, and also served as captain of the swimming team. And she has a Master's of Business Administration. And Kristen, like I said, has jumped into all things ACSM with both feet, both hands. She has a spectacular leadership team to work with Bill Kraus, who's just finishing his term as president, Nicole Keith coming in, Katie Schmitz rotating out, and really it's going to be, I think, a spectacular experience for her as she, continues to kind of really make ACSM in her vision with that leadership team. And Kristen, we are thrilled to have you join the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition meeting. We have a history of having our CEOs join us for this meeting, and we have enjoyed incredible support from the ACSM over many years. And so thank you again.
Thank you so much, Liz. That's a very kind intro. It sounds a lot better when you say it than when I look at it myself or think back on my history. I apologize. I have a new rescue dog and he's still acclimated to my house. So sorry about that. They say COVID brings out, I heard there's a very minimal supply of rescues and I have one of them here. I'm so glad to be here. Like Liz said, I was a college athlete and happy to be here. Happy to be part of this group. I'm so excited about the work you're doing and just thrilled to be able to be on this conversation and listen in and participate. So thank you. I see some names that are familiar. Hutch, it's great to see you. I see Hutch often. So it's really nice to see some individuals that I see regularly and see some new faces. So thank you.
Great, thank you again. I had an opportunity to talk with Kristen as well, and we're just so delighted that you are so supportive of our coalition. So thanks again. So I'd like to start off with some brief introductions. We do have some time, but it would be great. We've always enjoyed the value of getting to know one another and collaborating with each other. So I think that we all feel that that's one of the most important parts of this coalition is sharing and collaborating. So how many people, Kristen, are on the call? I can't.
It looks like there's 34 individuals.
So how about if each person does again a very brief introduction. I'd like to start with the executive committee first, so everyone can get to know those on the executive committee, and then we'll go around. So maybe just your name and where you're from and your interests in and research, if any, or clinical work in this area, female and male coalitions. I'll start. Aurelia Nativ, as I mentioned, and I'm a professor at UCLA and a team physician in the departments of orthopedics and family medicine, team physician with UCLA Athletics. And my passion has been the Triad for my entire career, clinically and research-wise. So it's an honor to be your president. Let's see, anyone else from the executive committee? Go ahead. Liz, maybe as the past president.
Sure, I'm Liz Joy. I'm a family medicine and sports medicine physician. I work at Intermountain Healthcare, where I also serve as the Senior Medical Director for Wellness and Nutrition. As Aurelia mentioned, I'm a past president of the Triad Coalition, as well as a past president of ACSM. And like Aurelia, we often just say ditto whenever we talk about the work we do. But I have been involved in caring for, doing lots of writing and some research for females affected by the Triad my entire career, and just spent most of my day caring for patients affected by eating disorders in the Triad. So I am definitely a boots on the ground clinician who is working with this population, and really happy to be here this evening. Thank you.
I am Mark Hutchinson. I am an orthopedic surgeon from the University of Illinois at Chicago. I actually was one of the initial members of this group many years ago, and have served as the treasurer looking after the finances for many years. I serve as the head team physician at the University of Illinois at Chicago. We have all kinds of different men's and women's sports. I've had the privilege of going to Olympic Games and working with Olympic athletes also. So it's been a wonderful camaraderie, and really my privilege is just really working with all of these research specialists and leaders in the field, because I've learned a lot over 20 years.
Thanks so much, Mark. Mark's been our treasurer for as long as I can remember, and so he's been a wonderful addition and has contributed so much to the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition, so thank you. Let's see, Nancy, our secretary, Nancy Williams.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. It's great to see everybody. And Mark, I also wanted to thank you. I think you're keeping us legal in terms of being a nonprofit, because that requires some work every year. So we don't acknowledge that, but thank you for doing that in the state of Illinois. Hey, I'm Nancy Williams. I'm currently at Penn State at the Department of Kinesiology. I'm currently the department head and the co-director of the Women's Health and Exercise Laboratory. I've been engaging in female athlete triad research for, I don't know, a couple decades now. Have had the great fortune to work with some great people in the field, including my longtime collaborator, Mary Jane D'Souza. It's great to see everybody here zooming in. Sorry we couldn't all be together in person, but I've really enjoyed working with the coalition. I'm a past president as well. And I think, as always, there's so many exciting things we can do. So I'm excited for the meeting tonight. And even if we're all virtual, perhaps we can get some things accomplished in the coming year. So welcome, everybody.
Great. Kristen, how about as our fearless leader, our coordinator?
Hi, Kristen Colton. I'm a fourth-year PhD student in the Women's Health and Exercise Lab at Penn State, working with Dr. Mary Jane D'Souza and Dr. Nancy Williams. And I also serve as the coordinator for the Female and Male Athlete Triad Coalition.
Again, it's really a privilege to have everybody on this call and to share and update what you're doing and everything. So moving on the agenda, we'll have to do a little bit of catch up, but I think we'll be fine. Our treasurer, again, Mark Hutchinson, will be discussing an update on the finances. And also we have been discussing some financial strategies for growth, as well as some exciting thoughts and ideas that we have about a research foundation. So Mark, go ahead.
The society has primarily been dependent on dues. So if you haven't paid your dues, pay your dues. But also we want to think out of the box in terms of other ways to get support, corporate sponsorship, things like that, including historically this organization was an organization of organizations, including representations like Kristen from ACSM, but it included AMSSM, AOSSM, a variety of major groups who contributed significantly to the founding. And it may be time to go back to those organizations and say, hey, look at what we've done, look at our great website, look at the mission that we've done. It's time to contribute back to us. And so you each can help us in supporting that move to your organizations. And if you have any other leads in that regard, to help us make sure that we're financially secure. So that's really the update. Other expenses other than the website, we had routinely sponsored a scholarship for a rising researcher to come to the meeting, participate at ACSM. Other costs have traditionally been the annual meeting. But with that, that's kind of the update. I turn it back to the president.
Great. So on our executive committee call recently, we had discussed a research foundation. Some other organizations like ACSM have research foundations, and because there's such a strong representation of researchers in our coalition, we thought that that would be a wonderful foundation that we could participate in starting, and possibly get some corporate sponsorship for that. So we're just in the beginning stages, but we wanted to share it with you because we were excited about this idea, and we'd really like to follow through with this. So Kristen, we'll be back. We'll circle back to you, maybe separately from this call. But if anyone else has any thoughts about it, you can let us know. You can speak up now for a few minutes, or probably better to contact me, and then I'll share that with our executive committee and with Kristen. We can strategize in more depth, but we were so excited about it that we thought we would discuss and mention it on this call. Anyone else? How about from the executive committee? Is there anyone else that wanted to comment on our discussion? Okay. Okay. We will move on, and next update that we have, Kristen, our coalition coordinator, is going to talk about the website and the social media updates, which, as Mark had mentioned, has been much of our recent funds have been towards that. We're very excited with the way it's looking now, and also the social media presence. So both Dr. D'Souza and Kristen, if you can walk us through this and tell us a little bit about.
And for the group, I don't think Kristen actually self-introduced herself as good as well as she could, because she's been intimate to keeping us up to date. Where Emily had actually led us in the past, Kristen has done really the lion's share of the work to keep us going. So thank you, Kristen, because you're really leading the way for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We're all working together, so I've had a lot of help with this. We have been working a lot on the website. Mary Jane, do you want to introduce the undergrads?
Yeah, sure. So for many years, we've been trying to figure out the right formula and the right mix of people to get together to really renovate and rebuild our website. And after trying for God knows how long, we finally, I think, have pulled it off. I was fortunate enough to have some awesome students in my class last semester, and we did some website projects as part of the class assignment. And I met two students that have just been absolutely outstanding, and that is Maddie Holmberg and Teresa Swesnar, if I could ever say her name properly. And the work that they have done, they have brainstormed, they have created the ideas, they have created the graphics, and they created a campaign which we launched called Fuel for Function. And I couldn't be more grateful, and I feel honored to have had the opportunity to work with these students, and they've just done some fantastic work. Maddie and Teresa were mentored by Kristen Colton and by Nicole Strock, who were also very instrumental in creating this site. And Maddie and Teresa have created a presentation for you, so we will turn it over to them to share with you the work that they've done.
Is that the right screen, guys?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Hi, everyone. Like I said, my name is Maddie Holmberg, and yeah, it's been such an honor to be able to work with Dr. D'Souza and Kristen and Nicole and Teresa to kind of revamp the website. I'm also, in addition to being a Kinney student, I'm a 5-time, going on 6 thanks to COVID, member of the Penn State track and field team. So sitting in Dr. D'Souza's class last fall, you know, it really, a lot of the things really resonated with me, and you know, all the research is so awesome. And I just remember thinking, like, how can we get this information to more people? And I know I speak for Teresa when I say that. So we really appreciate Dr. D'Souza really seeing potential in that spark in us for this topic. So.
Yeah, as Maddie said, we were both just really passionate during class, and we're really excited to be working on the coalition website.
And you can, yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks, Kristen. So one of the first things that we created this semester was an athlete's guide. As a former ballet dancer myself, and as Maddie said, being a track athlete, we really wanted to see how we could reach student athletes of all levels. And an athlete's guide is one way. This is something that could be printed, hung up in locker rooms, guidance counselor offices, or distributed to athletes. It just has a brief explanation of what the triad is, as well as some key points on how to prevent the triad. This is one of the graphics that we created You've seen many renditions of the Triad graphic before, but we really wanted to hit home on how an inadequate energy intake is the driving force of the Triad, and make sure that we reached athletes and show them that impaired health can impair performance. A lot of the goal of what we did was kind of simplifying these harder concepts and making them aesthetically pleasing, more understandable for people who may not have that scientific background, especially for younger individuals and coaches, parents, the like.
And then also, as Teresa mentioned, we all know that the energy deficiency is really such a trigger for this. So we decided to tackle that for athletes, and we really wanted to just get some momentum behind the coalition and our social media presence. So we started this campaign, and it's Fuel for Function, and it's just to imply that food is fuel, and it's necessary in order to not only perform well, but obviously to stay healthy, protect your reproductive and your bone health. So we broke it down into 4 components that we felt like really were able to attack this from all angles, because we know it's so multidimensional. So we have focus on you as a psychological component, utilize food for nutrition, educate to prevent for material on the Triad, and then learn about resources to kind of drag people to our website, and just to reiterate, to be gaining knowledge from credible sources and not, from your teammates, from your coaches all the time.
So getting into the website specific pages, we revamped both the female athlete webpage as well as the male athlete webpage. And part of this was, again, just creating a cohesive look across the whole website, as well as making it just more digestible. So we took all the information that was previously there, supplemented it with new graphics that we've created, and just reorganized some of the components. So yeah, as you can see, these are some screenshots from the female athlete webpage, and then we also worked on the male athlete webpage. What was really important for us in working on the male athlete webpage was just creating more content for male athletes. The previous website really didn't have any information specific for male athletes, so we wanted to create an entire page dedicated to them so that anyone could go and learn that males are affected by the Triad as well.
And then coming back to the social media aspect, again, just trying to expand that outreach, trying to get more clicks to the website, and have people just be more informed and more aware. Right now, we have presence on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Right now, in today's times, it's actually Instagram is one of the biggest platforms. So we really focus on that, and then we spread it to the other social media platforms. And then, Kristen, you can just click through so we have a couple different genres of graphics and posts, and the first and foremost, we have educational graphics. So for instance, this one, we have drive home messages of making sure people understand that this does affect men too. I think the next one, is about just calcium information. So basic nutritional information that people might not know. And as Teresa mentioned, again, really breaking down the Triad so people can understand it, because I know when I talk to my teammates, people don't understand how what they eat is relating to their period, is relating to their bones. It's kind of a tough concept for a lot of people to understand. So we wanted to just really make sure that the motivation behind eating right and protecting your bones is because they truly understand why. Another graphic about the signs and symptoms, and then again, breaking down the Triad and having those images, and talking about disordered eating and eating disorders, because again, I think eating disorders is more on the forefront of when we talk about energy deficiency, but I think disordered eating really flies under the radar. And I know coming into the class that was something that was confusing to me, so we wanted to really make sure that was driven home as well. And then clicking through the inspirational graphics, this is really trendy right now for sports dietitians, and a lot of information, the way it's spread. We wanted things to be short and catchy and sticky for people, but also for them to resonate, so that we could really tackle that psychological component of, you don't need to fit this athlete mold to be an athlete, and you don't need to restrict food to attain this body, to attain this performance, and focusing on how you're feeling versus the way that you look in the mirror. And that's been really the message behind Fuel for Function. And another big one that we've been focusing on is myths versus truths, because we all know that there's a lot of stigmas out there. There's a lot of stereotypes. There's a lot of misinformation. And we wanted to just straight up just debunk that right off the bat. And just about osteoporosis, about birth control, about the loss of your period. And again, men versus women, and different ages. So we really wanted to just not beat around the bush. We said, this is myth, this is the truth. So we actually dedicated a whole section to that on the website.
Yeah, as Maddie said, we're just really passionate about educating young athletes, all athletes, coaches, clinicians, and the Instagram's been a really great way to reach and just help educate younger individuals and kind of create a trend that it's okay, it's good to be fueled properly, and that's what we're striving for. So a new component on the website is Triad in the News, and this is just a web page, a collection of all of the recent different articles, interviews, videos that are relating to the Triad in some way or another, and it's organized by year. Triad Triumphs was formerly known as Athlete Testimonials, I believe, and we came up with this new name to kind of revamp and talk about like the recovering side. A lot of the Triad stories that we have are talk about recovering and overcoming the Triad, and they really are triumphs. These are just a great collection of athlete stories and really allow individuals and users of the website to connect to these athletes on a more personal level. So definitely check those out. There's a lot of really great stories.
And then we have a whole section dedicated to blogs on the website. I think before this semester, the last blog had been written, I think it was 2017. But so now we have some more up-to-date blogs. And I know Teresa and a few other members of our group had a lot of fun creating these blogs so that they're short, they're concise, they're more attractive to read. So those are definitely, and we have the Triad Tuesdays where we post a new blog on Tuesdays. So.
Yeah, the blogs have been a great way of attracting members to the website, because Maddie will post the Triad Tuesday blog on Instagram with the link to the website, and that's getting a lot of people to the website. As you can see, those are some blog topics.
We also have a section that is dedicated to nutrition insights, and I know Michelle Barak has been very helpful through this as well. And again, we just want people to understand the benefits of food and to know that when it's used properly, when you're eating enough, that we can do so much more. And I think a lot of it does come from ignorance of proper nutrition, or just, again, stigma surrounding food. So we really want to make sure that people are seeing what food can truly do for you, and so that people can choose their food more intentionally and have better relationships with food.
A new component of the website is the members only tab. So this is a new portion. It's password protected, created for members of the coalition. And this is extra content. So there's a lot of really cool guides and pamphlets that we've created. This is one of the examples. We created a menstrual cycle disturbances pamphlet. We've also created pamphlets that correspond to the female and male athlete triad pages, as well as the athlete's guide. And we've got a lot more coming. So definitely look into that. You will be getting a password, I believe, soon. Kristen's still working that out, but if you renew your dues and are a member, you'll have access to all of this additional content.
And Teresa and I, beyond the semester, have still been working with Dr. D'Souza and Nicole and Kristen. So we do have a few things in the works. I know that Dr. Nativ and Dr. Joy have been on our Connecting with the Coalition. We had a short interview, and we've been pulling clips from that to hopefully be able to post on the website and post on social media. We're also working on an Educating the Educators pamphlet, where we're basically going to try and create a lesson plan and a PowerPoint so that we can educate teachers and parents and athletic trainers on this topic straight from the source, so that they can better educate their individuals. And then we're also working on merchandise. So to, again, spread awareness and drive people to our site and to make money too. So. And as you can see here, our Instagram has been rising in followers. So these are our statistics: 256 followers now, 83% female. We've been including videos, and those have been doing really well. But again, we're still working on ways to try and expand our outreach and to kind of get outside of our circle. And so we are working on new methods and strategies to continue to expand.
Yeah, reach as many people as we can.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you are interested and would like to follow, if you have an Instagram or anything, Maddie, if you want to give them the handle, if you'd like to follow along or share it with any of your students or anybody else, that would be great too.
Yeah, it's just at the Athlete Triad. So, and again, Twitter and Instagram, and we in our Facebook, 121 followers, and again, gradually increasing. So we hope to just really be able to, you guys are doing all the work, and we're just trying to get it to the people who need it. So we really appreciate it, and it's been such an honor to work with Dr. D'Souza and Nicole and Kristen. So and to be on this call. So we are, we're really grateful. And yeah, and then here's just our clicks to the website. Yeah, right, Kristen? Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all so much for having us and just for allowing us to work so closely. We've had a lot of fun with it.